Hey everybody, it's Rajesh here.
Intane here.
Welcome to our podcast, Baskets of Knowledge, Chats with a Difference. In our podcast, we invite guests from around the country and around the world to talk about how they got to where they're at the moment. It's about a journey, it's about an experience, it's about their life. Kia ora koutou, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Baskets of Knowledge, and hopefully you're all doing fantastically awesome. And if you're not doing awesome, that's okay as well, because you just got to do what you can do. Tane can't join us today because he's away doing some other cool things. As always, he's a busy man. But as always, I like to share what I've been learning over between the last episodes. And there was a quote I came across the other day when I was doing some reading, and I'm going to read the quote because otherwise I'll butcher it. And the quote basically goes, "It is not important to be successful at what you undertake, but rather to undertake what you'd like to be successful at." And that was really, really powerful for me because a lot of us chase things. We chase things and we chase them for a reason or no reason that we don't know. But we don't think about why we're doing what we want to do. You go to university because you need to go to university, you find a job because you're meant to be finding a job. But if you flip the script and go, actually, what am I actually wanting to do? What I really want to do? And that is going to help you be successful at that thing. And I think it's really, really beautiful because I think our guest today is someone that might actually acknowledge what that's been for them as they navigate this pretty amazing journey. But as always, it's not about me, it's about our guests. And today we are very privileged and very lucky and very honored to have on our podcast someone that, as I shared with them before, that I have been watching from the limelight from the outside as they've navigated done some really amazing things that have shifted and changed things for young people and for refugee and for migrant communities here in New Zealand. And it's a real pleasure and a blessing to have them spend some time today with us. Kia ora and welcome to Baskets of Knowledge, Kodrean.
Kia ora, kia ora. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. It's our pleasure and our blessing. Kodrian, for people who know nothing about who you are, would you like to explain who you are today on the 9th of October 2025?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thank you for having me having this corridor chat. And what a name, what a beautiful name for the podcast. A basket of knowledge. I really like that. It's cool. So to question who I am, my name is Kodrean Eashae, and I came from a place called Assyria or Mesopotamia. Nowadays we call it Iraq. So that's a little bit of the background. I'm Assyrians as ethnicity. So I came here to Aotearoa 2018 to reunite with my family here. And yeah, so this is a little bit of the background and who come. And since then, the journey started that I'm a founder and now CEO of Voice of Aroha. And yeah, a lot of, so in summary, I call myself a community person. So you will see me in the things that trying to improve the life of our communities, to improve their living, make things easy for them while they navigate life in a new place, in a new country such as New Zealand.
Amazing, amazing. I love it. I love it because you're very humble in what you have said right now, and we're going to dig into all that as we go into the time we have with you today. So we speak about where you are today, but if we go back and talk about your life in say 10 years ago, what was your life like 10 years ago? Because what I love about you is you have gone and spoken about the name of where you traditionally come from, not what it's called
Mm.
right now. And I love that because, we all come from these worlds and then the Western world or somebody has created these maps and has changed the names. So I love how you hark back right to the traditional name of where you come from. But 10 years ago, who was Kodrian?
Well, it was a terrible time.
Yeah,
Okay, wait, 10 years ago, what year is that? Is that 2000?
2015.
15, 16. Okay, so it was the time where really my country was bad, influenced by invasion of ISIS, the terrorist group, who came, which is made all that mess in Middle East, and you may saw the news in time. Until now, there is these groups around in some parts, which have caused a lot of displacements, and that was the reasons that part of my journey why we run away from the country there. But before that, if I talk about that background, I was a student. I love really education and study. I was one of the top students in my universities that time and studied political science and international relation. I love it on paper, but not on the reality, especially that part of the world. So, and then, yeah, since then we've been through this, um, escaping the place and getting to come here. But yeah, really 10 years ago, I was just a student who trying to survive that environment, but I accomplished it well, and somehow we made it happen. And also glad that we reunited later on after 2, 3 years in 2018 to come here. So now I call Aotearoa home.
Beautiful. And I love that because we see where you are today, but a lot of us, as we said, we all have a story. And we just see the story of the media or the news, and we don't know what it's like for people that live in those communities. I myself come from Zimbabwe, and what you see in the news versus what realities are two very different things. So I love how you spoke about it was a terrible time. And for you and your whānau living in there that time, what was the moment when you realized that actually we need to get out of here? Was there a significant moment, or actually you just saw the way the world was changing dramatically that it wasn't safe for you?
Yeah, so it was that time, especially I was talking about 2014, was only me in the house there. And it was really like, you know, how those Hollywood movies and how those actions, it is, we live it in reality. Unfortunately, it was a terrible time. Many people have lost their life. Many people have been taken by this group. But lucky enough, we were living in a city. We moved in the border, and then somehow they stopped in a certain border, and so they pushed it by the local forces. And later on, the international forces came in as well to help the local as well. So I think it was a nightmare if I told the story. Oh, it will take us a lot of hours to tell you what happened. But I think I had the resilience during this time, something that people may not know when these things happen. We come from things that you will sit on yourself. You need to take actions to be responsible instead of running away. Actually, need to do something. So what we done that time, there was a lot of families, like I said, from other villages and cities. They run away to our city. So I opened our home. We had a big home there, like 2 floors, and it can fit. So we fit 30 people just there to stay safe while, it become chaos. Imagine my city, I think it was 300, 400,000 as a population. So you get 1 million people straight away coming from all this. So where they get. So we're
Right.
talking about all that fear and things, but that moment it was just for me was more like I am young and my family was really that time just got out to New Zealand. So I said I need to do something like I'm a young, there's nothing to lose. My family is really there in a better place, so I could go fight maybe, volunteer, but they didn't let me know because I don't know how to shoot and stuff like that. So what was things I tried to do is helping community, helping people while there was kids and things they are afraid and things. When we started, me and other friends, so we can distribute some water, distribute some encouragements that um, to be safe and things because it was so crazy night. Everyone was afraid, and they were right to afraid because the group, terrorist group, we were people fighting. This is come for die. They wanted to die, so and it was so new, so people don't know what to do things. But we got the energy and courage to help communities. Give them that safety, that kind of resilience, and stay. Yes, just this is a quickly bring me back to those memories of
Yeah.
time, but yeah, it was terrible night.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing. And now, as you said before, there's so much depth that can go into it, and we've just spoken about the super, super surface level. But the reason why I wanted to bring that in is because it links back into what you do at the moment. Because you as you used the word a few times, that community building, community out there, doing stuff with community, um, which seems to be the core of your essence. And I guess what was it like for you when you knew that you were able to come to New Zealand? Because I'm sure it's up in the air, you're not sure what's going to happen, and then you get a letter or a phone call that says, "Hey, Kodrean, you've got the visa to go to New Zealand."
Well, the process took long time, around 4 years
Yeah,
to get to here. But during that 4 years, so as I said, our country got into really crazy time, and you could, a couple kilometers away, you can every night we hear the voice and things, and every night something could be shoot to our city, but luckily we survived. But then those time I was, we have a lot of internal displaced people, which I became one of them later. But when we a little bit head back to some of the villages, cities, so I start, creating some sort of workshops for the young people so they can feel the life while everything was taken from them at that time. So I brought other young people. We just started creating a space, and I graduated from English institutions there, and then I say I will start giving them English classes, and then later on say next one we will do computer course. They were young and we were just telling them. Then the other one I say, okay, let's talk about social media, how we can use it for good. Because I saw the young people, everyone was in their phone. So that's how started. That's how I saw that really it's making a good for their well-being when we are giving them that time and that space. So the families were sending their kids, they just love it, whatever activities we do. And then since then, we just grow, we just self-funded. And then we later on find there's a more community and other organizations that jumped in to support our work. And then we slowly grow it into more like courses, trips, and other educational things. And then even we did a lot of events for older people, for women. So we start diversifying this when we see the people really want to help. But it's all started that I need to do something. I need to help something. And those the people were with me. We trained them well to be leaders. Then they start doing different events and etc. So they can say to a question, that's the love of community started. That's where I wanted to, despite what is challenging time, is just we need to do keep going. The life is doesn't stop. No matter what situation, there will be somehow we need to move on.
And
Yeah.
at the start, I had that quote that I spoke about, and I didn't know where this conversation was going to go, but what you've just shared right now is in the quote. The last part goes, rather to undertake what you'd like to succeed at, and for you, what you did was the succession wasn't about the money or the fame. The succession was giving the voices at that of the youth at that point something to do, big, and then it diversified, which is really, really beautiful. And then when you landed here in New Zealand, what is that like for you? And I want to think about the time that you haven't seen your family for such a long time, and now you see them for the very first time after a long time. What is that like for you in person?
Oh, that was really, I think, hold the world for me when I arrived and hugged my mom and I saw my brothers. So, 4 years, and she didn't leave me every night. She was calling me across the years, but it's so different. I mean, when you came after full 4 years, you've been away. Yeah, I think that was the world for me, that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's ingrained in you forever, that moment. That, and as you said,
Oh,
phone calls are good, but the physical touch is,
yeah, no,
yeah,
it's the mother. It's the
yeah,
mother.
the mother, yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's It's so powerful, so powerful. And then now you start your journey into New Zealand. You come in as a refugee slash new migrant. What do you start noticing? And because New Zealand is a I had this conversation with our last podcast guest. We talk about bicultural New Zealand, but I was like, actually, New Zealand is so multicultural, especially living in Wellington. You see a lot of cultures. What is it like for you as a young person now coming from a place that where your world was so constrained to a place where it's a bit more liberal?
Yeah, I think so. Since my arrival, I felt love with the country, and what I did after I think after 5 days, I just to readjust to the timing, like the world I come from and the New Zealand timing, and then I took a trip to Parliament, and where I can see the difference. So there was a room that they explained there's a different areas and about Maori culture, and I said I love that, and then I got into myself into volunteering, and then I had the chances to visit Marae and understand more about the culture. So I think this was something have strengthened my bonds to this country because what I saw, New Zealand, it is part of the West countries, but what I saw, there's a culture here called Maori, and Maori people are indigenous people to this land. Then it's just straight away linked me directly to them because I come from the indigenous people to the Middle East. And when I saw also the values that they stand, the things they have in common, say there's a lot in common. And the same how also then people say, for us, when it's come like a person like former refugee migrants, we really is not about which side we go. We fit with both of them because we come to a place, we want a freedom, we want a place to feel safe and all of that stuff. And the same things, there's a culture side of it, which is we want, which is the family values, there's all of that. So now people ask, yes, I can 100% fit with the Maori culture and I can 100% fit with the Pākehā culture or the Western culture as well. This is reality. People will start, and I think no, it's just this is it. Because what is this been? Then I have another 100%, which is me, the
Yeah.
place where I come from, or the other tradition things that, and the other beliefs that I have that I bring. It may not fit both of them, but it is me as a third person coming. And I think that was the first when I say that trip have helped me to understand learning, made me the love. Then I start keep going to many hobbies, many. So I think relationship with community strong will start getting stronger and stronger. So and now as a like you mentioned, the different third culture or multicultural society, I think it's a beautiful. We have the treaty there that it is been biased into two people, but I think it fit us all, which is it's something I think we have a power here. We have a great welcome here, and I don't know. I'm just from my experience so far, it's been great to see the beautiful people of New Zealand, their kindness and their support and their welcoming. It is great. There is also a lot of challenges. I would not, not mention there's no challenges, but I'm talking about general the people and the culture. It's a beautiful. It's all about also exchange. It's about us. What I'm bringing also on the table. What I'm also feeling, or what I'm also trying to be part now. The people who now welcome me in the home. There's a responsibilities we have. Everyone take it because they did their job. They welcomed us. It's time now how I can give back to home. So I think for me. I feel very good, very, I have a hope for a better future, I have a hope for a great New Zealand while seeing the young people from diverse backgrounds thriving. What is cool. Look, we came from different part of the world, but right now we are doing this podcast.
Yeah.
So imagine, so situations we may hate them, but like now we have a chance to introduce, we have a chance to connect, we have a chance to know each other more, and that's actually make the world much more beautiful place. So I think New Zealand is the place that is giving us that chance, and I'm so cool to see a lot of different ethnicities and people who really want to live, want to success, want to have a beautiful life. They are here. So that's something we need to be proud of. We need to celebrate it and respect each other and live in a good society together.
And that's so true. As you said before, we come from different worlds, but we're connected through our passion for stories sharing, not just storytelling, but story sharing. And it's awesome to have you on here. But I love the fact you spoke about third culture, but also third culture linking in with indigenous culture. And it's really funny, Kodrean. I was saying this to somebody that I come from Africa, so I have some African culture in me, but I'm Indian ethnicity, so I have Indian culture. But when you strip it right back, it doesn't matter which culture you come from. The roots of all the indigenous cultures are very similar. They may have different names and different faces, but the essence is essentially the same, which
Yeah,
is really beautiful.
yeah,
And I love how you mentioned that there. And as you started navigating this love for your new home, what was the spark where your um your idea for a podcast came up? Um,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I started with a challenge. That's where now the other side of it will. As I mentioned, I speak the English and I speak four language, by the way, and then I had a good experience after graduation work and all of that. So my challenge was here to finding a meaningful work, meaningful job. And then what I found, 1 year was enough for me to understand how system work, how everything is going. Why I say 1 year, why it was enough for me? Because volunteered in a lot of places and I have really went to a lot of Hawaii's meetings and understanding what is going on, how the talk is there, but there's nothing in action. A beautiful talk, but no actions, etc. So I found there's a wrong in the system and who's telling our story. So that was the challenge what I faced because if taking an example, let's say take me as example, who I can tick all the boxes, they will still keep asking me this question. You do not have experience. And we
Hmm.
ask them, what is that New Zealand experience? Then I ask them the next question, how I can get that experience when you don't give me the chance?
Yeah.
How I will get that? Just arrived to the country and telling you I'm good in this. You are not even willing to try give me 3 months or something so I can show you the abilities and skills I have to offer. So this was the challenge there. And that's how I start thinking something need to be changed here. Who's telling us to? Then I followed on and see I got involved into more in the sector. Then I understood there's some organizations or in general media actually, and they tell our story in a different narrative.
Yep.
And I said, wait, that's not really who we are. That's a part of it maybe, but it's not full of it. So it's just a part of the story, then they forget the story like you just asked me before. What is it? I was a student, or we have a normal life. Then there was one part of it, which is the terrible situations happen that led us to come here, And then there's also after. Is that meaning we are like not engineers, not doctors, not whatever skills, whatever culture we bring here? The simple truth is we speak two language. At least we speak the English as well. So I mean, look at the things. Go ask any refugee migrant. They speak two or three language. So I
Yep.
mean, so imagine how then they will start putting the boxes. But this is the challenge here, when the opportunity is not given. So that was the spark for me. And then I also found it's not just me. I found there's other people from different community. They're also facing same kind of problem of experience, racism, discrimination about name, about the background, stuff like that. So I found there was opportunity. So actually, there was here like a radio station. They were keen to put a program for refugee background people. And I saw the idea. I said, I think this is good. I want to do it. I didn't have any skills or anything in the radio, talking even publicly at that time. So I just had a vision that I know I wanted to do. I was trying every knowledge to share meeting and advising. But then what I found was a lot of them somehow some of them were taking the advice, some of them really they not. It was just in boxes exercise for them. So I hated that. I wanted change. I wanted someone to listen to the stories and apply it in somehow so make their life better because it was really challenging to find a meaningful job. So I took the idea and I started calling other friends to jump in and we created a team and then we established it something cool. We call it the voice of Aroha. And that's how the journey started to change the narrative. So that was our really first theme, and we started. So from a radio program, now the journey is gone into more like a proper charity organization, which we do events, we do programs, activities, podcasts, all of that stuff. Yeah. Hope was
Uh,
not long answer.
no, that was beautiful because as you said before, there's an origin story to everything, and I love the origin story was not actually about wanting to start the podcast. The origin story was the shared narrative that a lot of people that are coming into any new country, I guess they face, where you don't have that experience, and that was the same with me. I had finished off my degree. I did computer science. Had worked a bit, and when I moved to New Zealand, they said to me, there's no jobs for you because you don't have New Zealand experience. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. What does a computer scientist have to do? Doesn't actually matter. where you work in the world, like a
Yeah.
doctor, the body's the body, the computer, whatever it is. So I really love the fact that was your spark, and the spark was not just about you, but about the shared narrative. And also taking up opportunity. You could have so easily been like, oh, I don't speak English, I've never done radio, so English, all those things there, and just
Yeah.
pass it by. But it wasn't about you. It was the greater goal. And what I've been burning to ask you is the name. How and why did you choose the name Voice of Aroha?
Yeah. So that was funny. When I was dreaming about this, I said, okay, because again, I feel that our voice was not heard and was silenced in a way. Because again, I tried in too many ways. I've been part of many boards, many volunteers, many organizations to try, raise our voice, which I think all this experience, I'm grateful for them, but it gave me the things to see what is the difference when the people who leave, they know the issues, to take the lead, that make a big difference.
Yeah,
So that was something, all others, there was the people, then that's happened when later on I got another job with another organization. When they saw me start become a manager here, there is some people start like bullying me in a way. They say, "Oh, you just arrived to the country like at least in a year. How you are now getting manager positions and stuff like that?" So it's kind of like, wait, what? What do you mean? Like, should I spend all my 10 years, 20 years, then I deserve to be such a thing? So what? So that was also, it come by learning by situation when you start dealing with people, organizations, they will show you the true color and things. They're also true vision. So that will start to be shocking for me, saying, wait, this organization, they talk about my people community, then when someone from those community trying to get into leadership position, something, they will want a barrier for you. They want to put you down and all of that stuff. So I didn't let that happen in a way they say, if this is feel like a gatekeepers, I want to open the gate. And I want to do that by sharing, letting everyone to share their story. Then I think that was the free tool I can use, because I also understood the power of social media, the power of being online nowadays. So we use it for good. I understand there's a lot of things there, but they say, what about we just let the people come and share? And the name of Voice of Aroha, because of the other six young people who've been joined me, which we together we put. I remember there was another name on the table we were discussing it called House of Aroha or Voice of Aroha. Then we ended up to choose the Voice of Aroha. And we wanted to relate the two things. First, that we have a voice on different issue topics. We didn't want people to think we are refugee, we only talk about refugee topics. No, we can talk about environment, we can talk about economy, we can talk about anything matter to New Zealand because now we are part of this society. We want to normalize that we are people here, we are living here, we want to contribute back. We have a different perspective, different ideas, may work, may someone listen to different ideas how to do things. So that's the voice started to give marginalized community a voice. And then Aroha, we wanted really to connect it to the land, to the place that we are thankful, that love, like the love, the passion we are bringing each one of us in a different color. We wanted to connect it to the land, Manawhenua, which is the Aroha. And the name as well. Later on was blessed by some of our Maori friends, chief, who blessed the name, and we got, yeah, Voice of Aroha. So it became a podcast, been knowing as a radio and podcast, and then now into more activities. As you see in LinkedIn, sometimes we share the different activities. Yeah, that's the
yeah,
origin of the name.
I love the origin again because the origin is not just a name that you pick out of air. And I appreciate it when you came on the podcast, you acknowledged the name of Baskets of Knowledge, and it was the same thing we went through. Like the name has got to have a story behind it. It's not just a name that you pick out. And I love that how you speak about um when people speak about refugees or migrants, you only want to talk about their life situation, but actually, hey, they have skill
Mhm.
sets, they're smart, they come with their knowledge and their skills. So let's not just talk about one part of the identity. We are all made up of a whole canvas of identities. So it's beautiful. And I love the fact that, even if you think about if you when I look at it, I go, hey, we come in and what is universal to every single person in the world is love. It's universal across the board. Whatever
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what it looks like, but we all know the feeling of love. So, It's a beautiful, beautiful story there. And what has it been like for you know as you reflect back where you are now, 6 years on, and you think back of what you started and where it is and how it's grown and the number of lives that have been impacted. And I talk about impact because I follow your content, I follow the people you bring on, and it's a whole diverse range of people and a whole diverse range of topics. And do you ever just sit back and celebrate that? Wow, this is really cool. Or have you?
Good question, which is I don't know how to answer that. The reason I say this is because I think we really matter about every person, every story, it's like every day. And especially, yeah, when it's come to end of the year, we do reflect on the year and things, but now in the 6 years, it's been just a great, authentic way to grow.
Yeah,
It just grew by itself. It just got the support of community by itself. And I think we gave a model that when you put refugee background people and the leading the matter and things, they will do 10x. And the 10x come because we put our heart and things and everything's into it. Because it's a matter of community, matter of changing that person, that connection we create, that person, that story, that highlight. It this all matter. No way, no matter how, it will matter somehow. When we do this, when we share, it, maybe there will be 100 people view it. 10 people maybe get into the end of the podcast. There's one person we look at. That was the person who take action.
yeah,
And that's the win for us. And I think creating a lot of this story, these backgrounds, different people, it also give um, the picture for the wider society. There's another narrative to look at. There's a different story. There's these people who are doctors who are doing this, who are students, or actually, the challenge stories as well as coming from them. So this is what we are trying to put those kind of positive contents and stories there so people can hear from the people directly. There's no filter here. Just bring them here. Let's have a cordial conversation. And the other message we want really that a lot of people, especially in the team, we don't agree on everything.
yeah,
But we come together, we work and we talk about topics and things. We share our perspectives, and that's it. So there's a message we say there is a possibility, and no matter what, how much we disagree, but there with at least we need to talk. At least we need to sit and have a conversations. There will be 10 points that we may not, let's say, take a 10 points. Nine of them we may not agree, but there'll be one of them we can at least some sort we agree you know. So if we agree on one point and nine left, I think that will make a way pathway for talking about the other one, so they can bring us closer, better, so we can live as a humans in a society that celebrate everyone, their color, their things, whatever you. It's just like, we need to have a space that understanding each other. We can't cancel each other. We can ignore someone from the table. Well, I'll just understand what is exactly really, let's say, your top priorities. What's my top priority? What's the understanding? And, we've been doing this and we understand the food is the main character, bring everyone together. And so, you see, there will be ways, they will find it. And the joy of building community is so great. So if you ask me about to your question reflection, I think I don't know if I will do justice for that because we celebrate every day, every podcast, every moment is a celebration for us. Especially now we turn the table after 6 years. The original seven, we all of them they've been great now, successful in their jobs and things. That was the mission, but it's become bigger. And now the other people who is coming is building the legacy, how we are passing back the knowledge to other young people, getting the experience, meeting with the ministers, meeting with community leaders, all of that stuff. I think this is what is creating. We see the joy and happiness with them. So that's what make us keep going. That's what make us, great. That's a lot. And I love this job I'm doing. I've been like a privileged and humbled to be leading such organization. But you know what make this things all great and what things is the people. The
yeah,
people, the amazing people around me, this is the people who make these things achievable and great.
yeah. He tangata, he tangata, he tangata, right? It's the people, right? And I
Yeah.
love that answer because my question was, do you take time to celebrate? And you answered by going, we celebrate every day. And why I ask that question is because society, and I'm also in that society where we look for a reason to celebrate, when actually you can celebrate every single day. Every podcast, every conversation is a celebration. Every disagreement is a celebration because when people disagree, it means that people are allowed to be their authentic self.
Yeah,
Imagine if everyone just agrees just because they're afraid to be their authentic self. So, it's really, really beautiful how you have shared that narrative. Because again, it's bigger than you. And why I've why I've enjoyed watching Voices of Aroha as well is, as you said, for its legacy building. You step back and you let the new generation come through and they own it and they make it their own. Although the essence is the same, the flavor is different.
yeah, yeah. And it's like that because there's a say, I think I like it. It's just we are created for different times, so
Yeah,
we have a certain issue, certain world that, and it's also up to us how we want to leave this world, how kind of legacy we want to build and go. And then the other people's coming after us, each they have their own time, their own issue, their own things to talk about, as long as we don't make them enough issues to carry, like
yeah,
there's many things. But that's the thing. So I think it's a good, we need to have that thinking of, okay, I've been enjoying doing this and this, but I need to mentor someone. I need to bring some other people as well with me and etc. Especially if you want the legacy life, leave.
yeah.
If you need something temporary to just go ahead, then that's a different story.
Yeah, this so true. Kodrean, we've been focusing on you as an awesome human being, what you do as a community, but I'd love to know what you do for yourself. And the reason I ask you about that is because sometimes we do a lot of giving, and the people that give a lot sometimes
Mm.
forget to look after themselves. And I read somewhere that you wrote about, you got to look after yourself. I read a quote, a line from you somewhere saying, if you can't look after yourself, you can't look after the community. So how do you look after yourself?
Well, I may disagree with that one as well. I don't know in somehow.
Just
But maybe
disagree
it's
away,
good if
disagree away, disagree away. Yeah,
yeah, because I think or maybe interpret it different way that for me, community become my friend, it become my place to go, become my social life.
yeah,
And I'm enjoying it. It's become like something, that's how I spend my time. I learned a lot of skills, They tell me I was not a what does they call it? The graphic designer. Now I'm a great design a lot of great posters and stuff like that. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot through the work, meeting a lot of people, learned about a lot of culture. So for me, it's like another PhD. I'm just doing it in a life, like living,
yeah,
meeting people, understanding their culture, their place, their food, their stories. So, I mean, what else? Was it just a great job? It's a great place that I want to be there. So this is how I look at myself. So a lot of time it's come on the weekends. There will be community I go to support. So as
yes,
much I do the work thing, then we go a lot of support to our friends and communities to be there to celebrate their events. These things I don't consider as a part of job, as it's just for me as a person in society who love to see, who love to learn more. So for me, how I look at myself, I learn more, and how I do that by just celebrating different communities, going to different events. That's the biggest part of my life. I think it will be weird if there's a 1 week I'm not attending something or not doing something, enjoying or meeting, talking someone new, etc. That's what I see as a good well-being for me. Then the other part, it's of course I have a family, mom and niece, which is my very close friend, my niece, where I have a lot of time to give her when they bring her here. So that's where that's my joy, my happiness when I see my family well. Yeah, I enjoy the the life of community and the life of my personal life, but that's how I look after myself. So for me, a lot of people think it's like I don't consider work. So
great.
despite what we do, we are a charity organization. I have a
Yeah,
certain hours, but I put more than that because it's good for my well-being. I just love to see success of other people. When I see my friend, when I see the other people's achieving it or doing something great, that's what I love to see. That's what I'm happy to celebrate. Then I feel so good and I feel happy. And that's how I look at myself because I know, let's say, the simple acts like when you become reference to someone, when you just connect someone to someone, this all make a difference. And it's just great. You're making someone's day. that's my well-being. So that's why how I look myself at that. Some people consider that's too much work. It's not, again, it's not work. It's more like being active citizen in a community because I have a knowledge, which is, that's how I say is love the name of your podcast. I need to share it.
Yeah.
And why not to share it? If we share it, you may 10 people, again, that example, if they listen, one of them take action, that's it.
Yeah.
Enough.
And you know
Yeah.
what why I asked, it was a trick question. And I asked that question because I see myself in you because I like to give, and people ask me the question and I'm like, yeah, I like to give, and seeing other people succeed is my cup filler. And I can see that from you straight away because there are traditional ways of looking at well-being when you separate work and life and da da da. But when you're
Mm.
doing something that you enjoy, you don't see it as work. You see it as your part of your being. You don't separate it out. And I
Yeah.
love how you said, you every weekend you're out learning, and I love how you said you're doing a living PhD. This is a living
Yeah.
PhD, and how beautiful is that? And the only way you do a PhD is by getting out there, by doing things. Instead of researching journals, you're out there
Yeah.
living lives, which is amazing. So thank you for sharing that there, because I want people who are listening to think about well-being very, very differently. If you find the thing that you really enjoy doing in life, that can fill your cup every single day, and that's a challenge. Go and find that thing, because we all have that
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't know, people talk about rest. What is exactly rest? What do you mean rest? Like, we have to really, when you don't do something, you are definitely doing something else.
Yeah,
If people are not working, they're either exercising or whatever they do. If that's the why, that's great if you enjoy it. For me, again, for me, it's just part of learning. I enjoy because I enjoy learning. So when I'm attending something that is not a part of work, but it's part I'm learning, then I also see the opportunity to tell those stories or to invite someone or to connect with someone. So that's, I think, part of my well-being. But yeah, it's a great how people define and how people also see themselves, which is also, everyone is different. That's the beauty of this
100%.
world. That's
Yeah.
why everyone have their way how to look after themselves.
Yeah, and I like that when you have your why becomes your well-being, because your why is what keeps you going and keeps you growing. And a lot of us don't take time to think about what our why is. And some of us have when we're younger, some of us when we're older, when our life has changed a bit. But again, it'll be amazing if people just spend some time looking at what their why is. And you don't have to have the answer. There's no correct answer. It's just an answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kodrean, I know your time is nearly up. Like you said before, I'm sure we could deep dive for hours and hours and hours. So we might have to get you back onto the podcast to deep dive into your story. But we're not going to let you go just yet. Our podcast, as you know, is called Baskets of Knowledge, and you've shared a lot of knowledge today. But we'd love for you to end this podcast by sharing one piece of knowledge to put into our kits, say for myself, our listeners, a piece of knowledge that has helped you in your world, whichever world you're looking at.
Mm, beautiful. I think I will say be a good human, leave a good legacy, or leave a good or build a good ancestor. I
Yeah,
think when you think about this, build a good ancestor, whatever you do now, your next generation kids, they will be proud of your name. And we can do that. So, how to do that? Being a good citizen, being a good human, that's enough. You don't need to build buildings or doing a million of things to see that that's a good ancestor. Being a good human, being a good ancestor, it's a way to go. And that will be simple, beautiful life that we are leaving for the next generation.
I love that. I love that. Be a good ancestor. How beautiful. And I just said so simple. Be a good human. Be a good citizen. So simple, so effective, and so powerful. Um, Kodrian, any last words before we love and leave you to head away to do some other amazing things that you're doing?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you and thank you so much for inviting me to this lovely podcast. And yeah, looking forward to do more. Hopefully, when you're here in Wellington, we now host you, so now you host us. I need to invite you as well to come so we can have more conversations and time to learn about each other. And also, this is the online world. This is the tools. Let's listen to such a podcast more, such a stories more. and that can hopefully benefit and improve someone's life there. Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
so much. Really appreciate it.
No,
It was a great conversation with you.
no worries. Thank you so much. And it'll be a privilege and honor to be on the other end of my voice of Aroha. For our listeners, as you said, as you heard at the start, I was very blessed and privileged to have Kodrean on our podcast. And you can see why, because there's a depth of richness here that is not just about a title, but a depth of richness from experience and from Aroha that comes from the heart, but also from community building. So if you have not seen any of his work, please follow him on LinkedIn. Look for Voices of Aroha on their socials. They do some really amazing work, and they have a gala dinner coming up in a few weeks' time. Go on there, donate, make change lives just by, as Kodrian said, be a good human. And that can just be by doing something simple. So until next time, don't forget to put something into your basket of knowledge. Don't forget to smile. And as Kodrian said today, don't forget to be a good ancestor. Till next time, ka kite. Bye, everybody. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Baskets of Knowledge.
Yeah, we hope that you found something useful to put into your basket of knowledge. And as we said before, remember to put something little into your baskets of knowledge every week. And as always, feel free to like, comment, and share this podcast. Thanks, everybody. Bye.